Here's another really good control position, but it has its benefits as well as its negatives. So if I'm too high up here, you know, like you always see in the UFC and everything, you know, I'm going to get rolled over. Okay, so if I really want to control this guy and pin him for time, or just to immobilize him until I can figure out what I want to do to him, I better be down there actually holding him. Okay, but that leads to the fact that from here, there's not that much I can do from this exact position. I can do chokes and stuff, but he's ready for that. Okay, so he can hold his hands in there and block the chokes as I'm digging for them, and then wait me out. I'm still controlling him, but it becomes a little bit of a stalemate. So a lot of times what I find is I start digging for the collar or for a choke, the guy puts his hand up, and what is this? Chicken wing. He's just begging for it. Okay? So as soon as we go there, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wrap around here. Okay? I get a hold of that, and then I'll pull this down into my hand. Okay? If I can't reach it, you just come up and around and you grab the wrist. And then you figure for it. Okay? And I've seen guys finish from here. It's usually on a guy that isn't very bendy in the shoulder. So if he's got tight shoulders, it'll work. There's nothing wrong with cranking on it, you know, just to see if it works. Not working. Okay? So I've got, you know, two of the things that I need to finish this. I've got it figure forward and I've got it chicken winged. The third thing that I need is my elbow in his ear. Okay? And you'll get a quick tap out of that. So from the beginning again, okay, I'm pinning him, I've got him nice and tight and immobilized. I start digging for the choke and he's blocking. Okay? Grab the wrist, grab my wrist, slide your elbow over and back in immediately. Okay? It's not one of these big, grab over here moves. Okay? I've already immobilized it. All I need to do is get my elbow out of the way. Okay? So up, down. Shove him out of the way if you need to. Okay? And then it's just a quick little twist. Paint his knuckles across the mat. Okay? Like a brush.
It's really important, guys, to keep that for Derek's right elbow in the right side of Eric's neck. And jam that in there right below his ear, because that creates that's a base. So he slides that in there and watch how he keeps working it. If he can slide that over, and he will, quickly, boom, there we go. And start your crank.
Be a little bit pushy with it. You don't have to whack him in the air if you don't want to, but you do have to move it over so that you've got your elbows right there where you need to.
Get away with it, just don't.
Okay.
Notice he keeps that wrist though, pretty much to the ground.
Right. That's why I say that you paint the knuckles across the mat. This is a brush, okay? This is the top of the brush where the bristles are, and you just want to kind of paint it that way. And that makes you remember his arm has to be down there to bend, okay? Everybody wants to try and get their arm up there so that because they're more bendy, and it takes a lot more strength to do this. That's why, you know, when you're arm wrestling, you're doing it like this, not like this, okay? So he's pretty strong there. He can fight me a little bit. I'll still probably win, but it'll take longer. So get a chicken winged, keep his knuckles down against the mat, and then when we push it that way, it just takes, you know, a couple inches, and that's it, okay?
Yeah. Show it one more time for that angle.
Okay, so we're here, we're digging in there. Oop, here.
Now also another point, guys, see how Derek is really controlling well on that wrist before he slides the arm and elbow over. With that, look at his hands on Eric's wrist there. Tie up. Now look at that, he's got the nice figure four going, and then he cranks it. That's the Ude Garami, or the bent arm lock, the arm entanglement from that position, from basically the mount, the high mount. Okay? All right, let's work it, guys. Finish for that. So tonight, just to set this up, everybody, we're going to do Ude Garami, the arm entanglement or bent arm lock, from the bottom position or guard. And so Derek's going to take it from here, and if I have anything to add, I probably will. So there we go.
Okay, so first off, you know, it's great if you can get up in a seated position like this because it makes everything so much easier. But usually we're right about here. I'm still trying to stay round, but you know, I've got an open guard. He's put his hands in with an easy reach. So all I'm going to do is clamp down and then reach over. Okay, as I reach over, I'm not just sitting up and trying to grab, because then you get pushed right back down. I'm going to come over that hip and reach over pretty quick. Okay, so wrist first, reach over nice and quick, and lace up. Okay,
Now, one thing I do want to add, you know me, I will, when he does that with his left hand, that's his anchor. He anchored that down. He trapped it. There's the trap right there, okay? So in all arm locks, we have a trap. That's the setup. That's to isolate him. Well, he's isolating Ben's right arm at this point, Derek is. Now, as he rolls and starts to set up, then he starts to form the actual bending, the bent arm lock, Ude Garami.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So usually at this point, I put my thumb forward, so it's more like a cleaver, because that gives me more range of motion in my wrist. So I go from baseball bat to more of a clamp, okay? So instead of being like that, I switch to that, because that way it helps me to be able to push through. If you're more comfortable with the baseball grip, just keep it there, but that's my personal favorite grip, okay? So as soon as I get this, I keep it in nice and tight to my body, a chicken wing type shape, okay? I don't want it, the more straight it gets, the easier it is for him to counter. So as soon as I wrap this up, nice and tight in a chicken wing, close to my chest. As soon as I'm ready to start applying it, kick the foot over and clamp down on his lower back, okay? I'm already over here on the hip anyways, so it's pretty easy to do that. And then I just pop back a little bit, and that clears a path to finish, okay? So,
And see how he's sideways to Ben. So he's not laying, now he's kind of in a straight line. Sorry, my hand there. When he finishes, he's sideways to him. He's parallel there, okay? Was that parallel or side? Perpendicular. Perpendicular, there we go.
So once through all the way, lock down, lace up, okay, got my figure 4 grip, okay, clamp down with my leg on his lower back, and then just finish.
Real good point. See how his left leg behind at the belt line? Look at the bottom leg. That's trapping him. And a lot of guys like to do like a triangle from there. You lose a lot of power, guys, when you do that, and also mobility. If he can stand, go ahead and put your foot on the mat. Yeah. See how it's trapped. So Derek's bottom leg is trapping the front of Ben's body, and his left leg is trapping the back. He's got him wedged right in there, very tight. And that now you can really crank it and make it nastier. So it's a good position to be in, like you said, perpendicular there. So one more time, they'll let everybody practice.
Okay.
And notice with his right arm, everybody, with Derek's right arm, it is trapping when he comes over and gets Ben's arm and bends it. Look at that right elbow pushing down into Ben's tricep. So when he comes back and go ahead and finish it, Derek. See that right arm there? It finishes it down. It's making Ben keep his arm bent, and he's trapping Ben's upper arm as well.
Yeah, chicken wing the whole way through. Okay.
There you go.
As soon as he starts straightening, that's when things get dicey. Okay?
Yeah, you want to keep that arm bent to finish this. The closer it is to his body, the better for you. Okay, let's try it.
Every time you catch that too is when they're pushing on the knee to pass that guard.
What's that? Say it again.
Do a guard pass. A top person's pushing down that knee, and you can just grab.
Oh, that's right. If he wants to, yeah, that's a sucker move. That's a great move. Kenny Pattison, my old friend Kenny Pattison, was very good at suckering guys in. Like as they push that knee down, he'd go for it. Can you demonstrate that? Because you know what I mean, don't you? Yeah. So Ben, you kind of come up like you're pushing down his knee. Do it with your hand even. Do it. Yeah, a lot of guys will do that and say, "Oh my God, thank you very much," because that way, see how he really allows him. Good point, Steve. Because that's what a lot of guys will do. They'll try to pass your guard and push down on that knee, and now it gives you a good ready grab. And there you go, trap, and makes it all the better. Yeah, that's a slick move, and it's a good way to do it. And it's a very common thing. Okay, anything to add, guys? Let's give it a try. Good go. Kick over. It's a kick over Ude Garami we're doing, or bent arm lock, or arm entanglement. Which side are you going, Derek?
I'm going to attack this one.
Okay, that's that arm. Okay, so I originally learned this with this name, kick over Ude Garami, kick over bent arm lock, or arm entanglement, because you're basically swinging and kicking your leg over. And that's how I learned it. I know in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu it's called omoplata. Maybe other names. I do not know what it's called in Sambo because I don't speak Russian, but it is a Sambo move as well. So you will see this in any form of grappling or fighting. So there we go. So let's take a look at the kick over Ude Garami.
So this is another one where you're going to be wanting to be active on your hips. You know, eventually you might get bendy enough to where you can do it square up. It's very similar to a triangle in that way. Try and make it easy on yourself at first and use your hip momentum to make it a little bit quicker, a little bit easier, okay? Second thing, if I can move his head over with this, it makes it a lot easier for me. Again, eventually I'm going to be able to just get him down with my foot, but until then, if you notice you're doing this and he's not going down, just push his head a little, okay? All right, so next thing we're going to do is just we're going to cup here. I know a lot of people like really playing with the, you know, the sleeve and stuff for it. I found that if you just try and push it that way and focus more on getting your foot nice and quick down, it works a lot better. So cup, push, catch. Okay, and as soon as it starts coming up, I spin to the side and stomp my foot down on the mat. Okay.
Let me get a different angle here.
Okay, so again, catch, catch. Okay, as I pop that and my foot comes up, it's going to naturally push him down. And then that push on the head does the rest of it. Okay, and you'll notice I'm not figure four in my legs because then I lose a lot of mobility, and when he pushes back up, I've got nothing to keep my stability except to do that, right? And at this point, his arms or his wrist is wedged pretty deep in my hip right there, so if he tries to pull it out, it's not going out, okay? He can flip over, right, and get out that way, but that's an entirely different point of fact, okay? So don't get so hung up about, well, I don't want his arm to get out. If you get to this position, he's not getting out of it, okay? So place that hand down. I like sticking it down underneath his armpit because then I can catch his wrist and lean on him a little bit, okay? You could also come through and grab like tight waist style, and then it's just a nice, easy pull yourself at an angle, and that cranks his arm that way.
So when you grab with your right hand, you're grabbing your other hand as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you could do it this way too, almost like a power half.
But under the head, you lift the head up as you do it. So that's a real advantageous situation. So you're actually grabbing your hands together under his head.
If I really don't like the guy, give him the old wrestling crossface.
Oh.
Alright, so one more time. Okay, I'll do it from this way. Okay, so again, I'm gonna pull that.
Oh, going that the other way? I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And by raising your hips, that's the point we want to make here. By lifting those hips really causes a lot of pain,
Oh, yeah.
in that shoulder especially.
He's getting all of my weight coming down as I raise myself up off this hand and that back foot. He's getting all my weight down on the back of that shoulder. Okay, so instead of just relying on the twisting motion to get the tap, okay, I'm going to put all my weight down, which is uncomfortable, and then I start twisting. Okay, so
And by lifting the hips adds even more discomfort, pain, fundamentally. Now, legally in like Judo, Sambo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, this is considered a bent arm lock. But it really, we all know it's a shoulder lock too.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that's why the Brazilians call it omoplata. Does that mean the shoulder blade or something like that?
I don't know.
So I'm not really sure the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys out there watching this, you know that better than me. But that's why they call it that, because you are really attacking his shoulder blade, his whole shoulder area. Okay, let's give it a try, guys. Great practice. Good kick over, Ude Garami, or bent arm lock, or arm entanglement is what we call it.
Ude Garami, or like a bent arm lock, we're going to do it kind of in a clamp version. And what we want to do is I'm going to secure this same side grab wrist. And as I kind of step up, I want to pull this elbow just a little bit, kind of get him turning away from me just a little bit. I reach through and I grab my own wrist. I don't need thumbs here or anything like that. And I'm going to put this to the center of his back. My elbow is right on top of his shoulder. And I've got a pretty good position here. When I go to take him to the ground, I want to be able to do this really slow. I don't need to be able to do this fast. I'm going to come down on this knee right here, my left knee, and And I just kind of sink, go down my right knee. And I stay really tight to him. All I need to do to finish this move, if I can just hold him here, that's fine. If I'm trying to control him, I can give him some commands like crush your ankles, bring your feet up off the ground or something like that. If I want to put the lock on, I just move in kind of this moon shape to his head, and I'm watching for him to tap. From a self-defense perspective, if his other hand is underneath him, that's a big thing. That may be a reason to put this lock on to kind of motivate him to get it out. Let me see your hand. Get your hand out. Make sure he doesn't have a weapon or something like that.
So this is really kind of old school judo in a sense, because it's a standing Ude Garami, but we certainly use it in Shingitai Jujitsu as part of our deal. And again, we call it the clamp because of Chris and Larry Lean had that clamp program for so long, teaching police defensive tactics. And this is where you're one of their instructors and know this quite well.
Down for self-defense has a lot of advantages. You know, it just puts them in a position of disadvantage, and then if we can see and control the hands and all that, then all the better.
Hey, and guys, from a historic note from Jiu-Jitsu and old school Judo, osai komi, to immobilize or to restrain, you know, to put into an immobilization, in self-defense Jiu-Jitsu up to the point when Kano developed Judo, it was all belly down, just like you see here. The aomuki, what they call, or face up technique, like you see pins, hold downs, like osai komi, like in sport judo or sambo, that came along when Kano really made judo more of a sporting or a physical education activity and didn't stress as much self-defense. So this is pure hardcore self-defense. Can you kind of do it a little with a little more speed and just to finish out, and then we'll let you guys practice.
Yep. Grab the wrist, drop him down, lock it up, sink down. And you've got the hold here in the control. I'm watching that hand because it's not normal for it to be underneath him. That's a natural place for it. And then I can put the lock in to tell him whatever I want him to do. Okay? Anytime you're putting pain compliance on people like that, when you put a little pain on them, they get an adrenaline dump. So if you throttle it on and you don't throttle it off, they're going to start fighting you. Okay? Eventually, then they don't have any choice. So you have to be able to kind of step on the gas and feather the brakes every now and again too.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and give it a try. Practice.
Now we're going to do some variations therein, okay? So if he does manage to get his arms all the way around, okay, usually it's from this position, okay, because when my hand's underneath the armpit, it's a little bit more difficult for him to get his arms around. But if I do happen to be in this position and I can't break that grip off anywhere and try and get it bent underneath this way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go the other way. So whereas it would be in Ude Garami this way, it's the same thing, but we're going to go that way, more traditional grip, okay? So I'm going to grab here, okay, come through and get my grip, okay? But you'll notice I'm still nice and wide and I'm leaning back on him. If I lean forward, he comes back up and he takes my back, okay? So as soon as I get a good hold on that wrist that's held behind my back, okay, this other hand is going to slide past. I don't go up and out, okay? I keep back here and you just slide it past his head and then grip up, okay? And you can already see he's starting to kind of wiggle away from it because it's not too fun because I'm right there on the joint. Okay, what that does is it locks his shoulder joint in, so as soon as I start twisting, it's already starting to pop out. Okay, remember that the shoulder joint is just held in by, what is it, the labrum, the muscle that's across the front. Okay, it's a ball joint, it wants to move. You stop it from moving and then you start cranking it and it wants to pop out. Okay, so you lock the joint by putting your weight on it and then you twist. All right, so again, get a good hold, make sure that I've got my weight on him. Okay, slide up and entangle, and as I pop that hand free, get a hold of your wrist, okay? And then just a twist like that, okay? If I do manage to get up a little bit and he starts coming up on me, we're gonna just sit back on it, okay? Make sense? All right, let's hit it.